welcome to Interviewland.
Thanks.
Do you want to give a little introduction to yourself so that people can know a bit more about you?
I'm Lauren. I play the fiddle and sing a wee bit.
Yeah.
It's trad music, I suppose.
Yeah.
But with more of a like world influence than just Scottish.
Yeah, very interesting. So obviously I know that you live in Glasgow and that's where we are right now. So I wanted to ask you about the music scene here. What about that inspires you?
The people, I think. It's just, Glasgow's great generally for its people, like even out with music, it's just, everybody's a joker. And it's, just folk are kind.
Yeah.
I think Glasgow's really known for that, and I think the music scene's just like a smaller version of the same thing, basically. Just everybody sort of knows each other, looks out for each other, works together, everybody's in every band. So it feels like a wee community, which is nice.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think there's a huge community feel in Glasgow, and it's not something you usually find in big cities like this. So I think
not
it's
at
nice
all.
to see.
I think it's like wee villages, Glasgow, more than like a big city.
Yeah, I agree
It definitely
with that.
feels like little pockets.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So you've obviously performed across the world in places like Canada, India and Sweden. So I was wondering what your favourite place you've been able to travel to because of music is.
Hard question. God, everywhere. But probably India.
Okay.
Just because I quite like the feeling of like being really like uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay.
Being like assaulted by the difference in stuff like food and smells and noises and culture. And India is like a full-on assault on the senses. I don't know if you've been.
No, I haven't, but I can imagine.
I can't recommend it more. But it's quite a like mad place to arrive. So I quite like that because it's like challenging. But we also just the music is unbelievable. The talent of like the singers and just the way I think like the way that they approach like the music is quite different, more than maybe other places compared to us. So that was really cool to see. But we also went to cool places.
Sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah, it was class.
So as you mentioned, traveling is a big source of inspiration to you and your music. How do you combine the diverse influences that you've come across while respecting the cultures that they come from?
I try not to be too like academic about it. Like I feel like you could really go to town like researching to try and make sure that you're like conscious of the culture, and of course that's super important. I think for me it's more like just being in it and like taking it in and like how I feel about it. And like speaking to people there, listening to their stories, trying to understand a bit of the context of like where a particular tune or song has come from, but then using that like just as an influence for what I would do myself, if that makes sense, rather than like trying to recreate it. Like there's no point in me trying to recreate an Indian song. Like listen to the Indian people singing it, it's going to be better. So I think it's more about like if I'm singing like a song from Rajasthan, for example, I'm away in my head, like sitting under a mango tree having a nice wee time. I'm not trying to like recreate how it would be done there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So a lot of your songs deal with deep emotions, and I was wondering how you tap into your feelings when writing.
I think they're kind of just written from a place of like however I'm feeling when I'm writing it, and then when I'm playing it, I try really hard. Sometimes it's kind of hard to disconnect if you're like worried about the audience. But in an ideal world, when things are perfect, I try really hard to just like be there in my head when I'm playing it as well, and try not to be like over cognitive about it. Just try and go with how, like if I wrote it a certain way or arranged it a certain way based on how I was feeling, then try to just like reconnect with that feeling from the time, if that makes sense. I think you could probably go down a bit of a hole trying to like trying to overthink that, so I try not to do that.
Yep, that makes sense. Just going with the flow.
Yeah.
So your first album combines songs and instrumental tracks. How do you decide whether you want to keep a song as an instrumental or add lyrics to it?
I think I just feel it out. Like if it feels like it needs something extra, then add something extra. If it doesn't, then cool. I think you can like over arrange stuff and like over plan it and try to make it really like showy and complicated, and that can be really fun, especially if you're arranging it with a group. It's like really fun to come up with all these ideas, but sometimes like a melody or a song, it feels like it's enough on its own, like it doesn't need loads of embellishment, and sometimes it's nice to just give it space to sort of do its own thing. So yeah, I try to just be led by like how I feel about the song or the tune as much as I can.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's good to go with your intuition on things like that. It's definitely one of those things that I've seen in a lot more artists that are coming up at the moment, that they're trying to sort of go with their gut and go with what they want to make rather than going for what's trending, because that is definitely something that people can fall into, especially in the digital age.
And it's so easily done because you see it and you're like, oh, that's really cool, maybe I'll try that. But yeah, and I think these things sort of ebb and flow, don't they? Sometimes it's cool to be adding loads and loads and loads of stuff, and sometimes it's cool to just have it be stripped back and to just sort of go with how you're feeling at any one time. And it's also cool when you hear somebody do something similar, like completely different. You're like, oh wow, I never thought about it like that. So yeah, like just how you feel about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what made you want to combine traditional and electronic music?
I don't really feel like it's something I like consciously thought about or considered. I feel like I respect the purest ideals of like trying to keep trad music a particular way, like very acoustic, particular instruments, particular phrasing, dynamics, ornaments, and trying to keep it as it would have been originally, I guess, would be some people's perspective. I think that has its place and it needs to exist. Like we would be screwed if it didn't.
Definitely.
There needs to be something like at one end, but I think it's okay if there's other stuff at the other end, sort of like pushing and pulling. And I feel like a lot of the stuff I've been sort of drawn to play or write has been influenced by loads of other stuff in the world, so it isn't just fixed in Scotland and traditional music, so it makes sense to me to then try to incorporate other influences, like more modern stuff as well. I think if we don't do that, the tradition will just die anyway. So I think as long as we have both ends and people are sort of holding down whatever end they feel most drawn to, that's important.
I think that makes sense. I think it's important for people to try and bring in younger audiences, especially because it's such an important part of Scottish culture and it's not something that you want to lose, so it's important to experiment but also try and keep the tradition alive in whatever way we can.
Totally. And I also think like we've got both, like we've got people that are doing an amazing job of just playing it as it would be traditionally and being so knowledgeable about that, and I really respect that, but it's not maybe where I'm coming from, and I think the two things can exist and be part of the same bigger scene, hopefully.
Definitely, I do agree with that. So I wanted to ask you about 2024's MG Alba Scots Trad Awards, where you were a nominee and you were named Upcoming Artist of the Year. How does it feel to have your work recognised like that?
I wasn't actually named, I was nominated. But it was so nice. It was such a nice event. It's nice to, I think, just for other folk to not maybe like have it be recognised, but just let other people like it in any way. Because it all means quite a lot to me, and it's like really fun for me to like make it and share it, and then for other people to receive it in any way is just a pure bonus. Like obviously awards and things are not actually really that important in the grander scheme of life, but it is really nice to have feedback like that, I suppose. And it was also just a dead good night. It was like really good crack, what I remember of it.
I love that. I think obviously, like you say, it's not the most important thing. You don't want to make music for that purpose, but I think it's definitely nice to see that people are enjoying what you're making, and just to get that little pat on the back after everything you've put in.
It's also just an amazing thing that they've set up to sort of showcase what we've got on offer in Scotland, because it's not like that everywhere. When I chat to my friends, even in other European countries, it's not the same setup, and it's not recognised as such a big thing, and there's not these celebrations of how great it is. So it's nice to like make that a thing and be like, look at this is pretty cool.
Definitely.
Because it is.
I do think that Scotland's quite good at promoting what we have to offer, especially in terms of music. You know, you've got the Scottish Album of the Year awards and things like that, and like you say, like everything to do with the mod and stuff like that. There is a lot going on, which I think is
I think it's just nice to take an opportunity to celebrate any of that. Even if it has a word.
I agree. Okay, well, thank you very much for talking to me.
No problem. Thanks for having me.